In the 1st century, during one of the most infamous executions in history, turned the executioner into a saint. The centurion's instructions were quite simple. He was to confirm that the man hanging beside him was truly dead. But the centurion had terrible eyesight, so when he goes to pierce the side of this corpse, he accidentally must have hit the artery or the lung, because immediately just this abundance of water and blood just started squirting all over his face, goes into his eyes, and reeling from the pain, he just drops to one knee. He opens his eyes, and when he does, tears immediately start streaming down his face, and he just begins yelling out repeatedly, "Truly, I tell you, this man is the Son of God." You see, that corpse that sprayed this blood and water on him was a corpse of none other than Jesus of Nazareth. And when his blood went into the centurion's eyes, his eyesight was completely restored. The centurion in that story was none other than Saint Longinus, who went on to become one of the most misunderstood martyrs of all time. He abandoned Rome on the spot. He began preaching across the Middle East, and hundreds of people came to see the man whose blindness had been cured by the crucified and already dead Messiah. But soon enough, word reached the ruler, Pontius Pilate. He couldn't have a Roman officer of all people telling others that Jesus was the king. So Pilate, he sent his soldiers. They dragged Longinus back and ordered him to renounce his faith, which he refused. And that's when the Romans had the most wicked idea they could ever have. He will not be able to preach about his miracle if he is blind again. So in one of the most gruesome acts in history, they gouged out his eyes, thinking he would renounce his faith and stop preaching. But that's not what happened. Even though he couldn't see, he just kept on preaching. And the Romans became absolutely enraged. So they went further. They dragged him back into this temple. They cut out his tongue. But now when he opened his mouth, it was like this thunderous voice was speaking through him. Almost like the voice of God himself was embodied in this man. At this point, Pontius Pilate calls for this man once again, ready to take his life, because he's just realized that he's not going to stop. So it brings him to the temple one last time, and he orders him to bow down to Rome's gods. Instead, Longinus reaches out towards where he knew his waist was. He pulls out his sword, he swipes to the right, decapitating one of the pagan statues, and he says the words that would go down in history as one of the most legendary things that anyone has ever said. "Let's see what your gods do to protect you now." Immediately after, two men restrain him. They forcefully bring him down to one knee, and as soon as that happens, an entire earthquake shakes the temple, bringing down every single pagan statue. And even though Longinus was executed soon after, in the centuries that followed, people reported miraculous healings after seeing him in dreams, later canonizing him as Saint Longinus, the blind martyr who saw truth more clearly than anyone.